movement.
Hey, yeah. Christina, question, and I've got a little personal interest in this. What is the possibility of you perhaps hosting a gubernatorial debate in Florida this election season?
Well, I think what will happen is that we will have caucus leaders. We have somebody down in Florida, Alex Vidal.
Oh, yeah.
Heard of him.
Oh, we know Alex.
We know Alex well.
We know him well.
You know Vidal, right?
Yeah.
He's like Mr. Gets Around everywhere. He's our social, media technology director. I'm sorry, Alex, I don't have your exact title on hand here. But anyway, individuals aspiring people to, be fellow state leaders. Like Arkansas, we have over a dozen of them. And, Alex is actually our director of marketing and new media for the national team. And so people like him, imagine times 12, 24, that will be hosting and maybe bringing in well-known names within the state that are trusted. Like a Larry King, but at a state level, not really political, but just wants to make, the world a better cause. Maybe the lead vocalist for Golden State. Well, I don't know. It could be really interesting, but I definitely wouldn't, if it was a debate, I would consider it, but I'm only one person. So maybe maybe I would try to do it, but I think that a lot of our state leaders would become very active in hosting those debates. That would be not necessarily third-party debates, but we actually wanted to call it an open debate, but the mainstream media, tagged as a third-party debate for the Larry King debate. But it really was an open debate, and we're much bigger than third parties.
Sure.
Yep, exactly. Sure. You're the true voice of the people in these things, which is what is amazing. Again, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. And again, there are people that are required to belong to Free and Equal right now. There's a lot of work that can be done for the buildups for these things. So if you do want to see a gubernatorial election in Florida in 2012 that Free and Equal is hosting, we need people in Florida to join Free and Equal and to make sure that that's a reality. Because, Christina's only one person. She gets around, but she can't get around everywhere. So she needs help, and so help her out if you can.
Well, thank you so much, and I personally invite 1787 Network to be a co-sponsor of our upcoming June 22nd event in Little Rock, the United We Stand Festival. It's no cost at all for co-sponsors, just like the Larry King debate. All we ask is for you to help publicize the debate in return, and you've already done that because you've done your show.
Yep.
So
And
we'd love for you guys to be on board.
We're broadcasting now in Little Rock, Arkansas on 880 AM, so the word is getting out locally as well. So
yeah, we're on a 50,000-watt station that covers the entire state of Arkansas. So, no, we're going to continue to do that.
Right.
And if I can talk these two into it, we try to go up there for that as well.
I would love to be able
I'd actually
to do
like
that.
to be up there. So.
I think we should definitely try to make that happen.
So.
Come and cover it. You can interview the people when they come on and off the stage, whether it's Jesse Ventura or whatever. We're going to have our own huge, camera crew, Hollywood, whatever, on the ground. Amber Lyon and hopefully Ben Swan, I'll know in a day or two, and others, Josh Tolley and Mayal Hassan, and just honest media holding the mics and interviewing. And we're going to take that footage and maybe turn it into a TV series or something for the fall university tour. So, or promo pieces. So it's really cool. We totally welcome media like yourself to be there, and we'll have spacing for all of you as well, or an area.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. And we'll have you definitely back on before this happens.
Oh, absolutely.
And if we can we'll definitely be up there. I was thinking about that. I'm like, June, we got a little bit of time here. We might be able to do that.
We could do it. We could pull it off. Although it would be a road trip.
I was like, 3 months? We have 3 months? I was like, that seems so long. I'm so happy. I feel like it's 6 or 8 weeks, but everybody's moving so fast within our team, like it's 6-8 weeks away. I'm like, oh, God, thank God we have 3 months. But, yeah, ticket sales will start in a week or two. I think they'll, but, for media, you talk to our media guy, JL Aharam, that's different. You get passes. But, for every people that want to drive up from Florida, tag together, Alex Vidal is going to come in probably. But in any case, it's really the real deal. And we can't be distracted by, other things that, it's just, Ron Paul's wonderful, but, talking to Ralph Nader on the phone last week, talking to another person who's been a Liberty, well-respected for 30, 40 years, just the whole Rand Paul thing is just really a distraction created by the two-party system because, parties don't work. Parties can't be fixed from within. I've seen it as like a libertarian and green party as it grows, it becomes infiltrated. So the movement, again, is these independent individuals running in 14 for the local races. And our national database will actually help them have a level playing field of how to win. They'll probably get resources through, what we're doing and creating to help like-minded candidates across the spectrum, you and I running for office, whatever. The people we inspire through our TV shows, interviews, free and equal stuff to run for office. So, it's very apparent to me that the direction Rand Paul is going in is a dead end, whether he knows it or not, and all fingers are pointing that he does. But I like to give the benefit of the doubt. It's a dead end. It's just you cannot fix the party from within. And we saw what happened to Dr. Ron Paul, the RNC. So don't take the bait. Rand, in that direction, government will still grow. And that's not the direction we want to go in. It's gotten where we are today. Compromising is not an option. So this is truly the grassroots movement. I can't wait to meet all of you. And I really hope you make it to Little Rock. It's a great location for this.
No, absolutely.
I think we've got a road trip on the agenda. But Christina, thank you so much. It's always great to talk to you, and hopefully we'll talk to you again real soon and see you in June.
Yep.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
That's really good. I really love what they're doing, by the way. I love the fact that it's all these different people that are coming together. I mean, like I said, she worked for Nader's campaign. So she worked for Nader's campaign. But when it comes to the Fed, when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to all these issues, we have much agreement. And to get everybody together to say, look, no matter what, like even during that debate was, okay, no matter what, this is bad. And everybody agrees that this is bad.
Yeah.
And so that's good. I really, really do like that.
Well, I think what you see in all of the, the non-two-party systems and all of, and I hate to say third party because there's so many of them, it, becomes third, fourth, fifth, and, up to 12th and stuff. But what I think you see is, we always say, if we could all agree on the big stuff, let's fight out the small stuff when we fix things. But when you look at all of the other parties, that is what happens. We generally agree on the big stuff.
Right.
And then we're just sorting out all the small little details. And that's really what, if we wanted to fix things, that's really how to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Now, the last thing that we're going to bring up here is the Florida legislature, got a lot of stuff going on, not really a lot of good stuff going on. And in an effort to try to look like they're trying to do something about an issue that really is nothing here, Danielle, kind of give an explanation of one of the bills that's up there.
Well, and I review a lot of legislation and help out the Legislative Review Committee for the Libertarian Party of Florida. And there is a new bill that is called the Foreign Law Legal Code or System Bill, which I don't even think I'm getting the full name. Let me see. I can pull up the name here. The Application of Foreign Law in Certain Cases is what this bill is entitled. And what this essentially does is take away your right to let a outside party settle disputes between, and these are civil disputes, but disputes between people.
Not criminal disputes.
Not criminal disputes.
Civil disputes.
These are civil disputes. And what this is and this is what the mainstream media is calling is this anti-Sharia bill.
Yeah.
And of course they're not going to name it that, they name it something else, but it basically says, you cannot use a foreign law, legal code, or system to settle a dispute inside the country. But then it goes on to say, and I tell people all the time, read through bills before you get for it or against it. Because, and what this says is, this section, I want to make sure I'm in the right place before I read it all. Okay, this section does not limit the right of a natural person in the state to voluntarily restrict or limit his or her fundamental liberties, rights, and privileges guaranteed by the Constitution, by contract, or by specific waiver. And what that means, I'm going to break it down, is basically that if you decide that you would forego some of your rights to have someone outside of a court system settle a dispute, you have that right.
Now, give an example. Who does this?
Well, let's say, and this happens a lot of times, even, Christians and a lot of religious associations What will happen is you say, I have a dispute with that person over there, and instead of taking them to court, we may go to the pastor and let the pastor decide and settle it. So, in
the Catholic faith, you could do this.
In any faith,
in
you
the
could
Jewish
do it.
faith, you could do this. In the Muslim faith, you could do this.
It extends way beyond that.
Well, I'm not done. I want to go through each section individually.
Well, I just want to point one thing out to people. Most people may not even know this, but they are probably in agreements like that right now. In fact, if you read your credit card terms and conditions, virtually all your credit cards say that if there's a dispute between you and the credit card company, it will be arbitrated by a private third party before going to court. So that already exists, and most people are in agreements like this already.
Right, but that's court sanctioned. So that wouldn't even fall under this law because that is mediation is court sanctioned.
But I'm just putting that as an example.
But let's say, I mean, and you can even take this out of the religious aspect and say two neighbors get into an argument and they get a third neighbor to say, hey, who do you think is right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's essentially what this is, that both parties agree that this other third party, regardless of who they are, can settle this dispute. So, and what this says is that you have the right to do that, which we would agree as long as everybody's entering it into voluntarily, you do have the right to have a third party settle a dispute. But then in the same sentence, it says, unless the contract or waiver would strictly construed in favor, would not be in favor of preserving your liberties, rights, and privileges. So it says that you have the right to set those aside and let someone else decide, but you don't have the right to set those aside and let someone else decide.
Well, in reading legislation, how often does this happen? That the language itself is completely contradictory.
Right.
You know?
Well, and the language in this is, I mean, if you read through this bill, and none of these bills are terribly long. This is 6 or 7 pages. But what this does is basically, if you decide that you're in any faith, but, you know, and they have strictly kind of the mainstream media has made this about the Muslim faith, that if you were entered into any kind of dispute with someone of the same faith and you wanted another person who is a, you know, higher figure in that religion or that faith to settle that dispute, they actually are not legally allowed to do that anymore, even though everybody is entering into that voluntarily.
Yeah.
And that, folks, is ridiculous. Now, right now, there's a lot of concern out there about Sharia law. I hear it out on the campaign trail. And let me just put it to you this way. I never want to be judged under Sharia law. I would not enter into an agreement where it would be arbitrated under Sharia law. And if I'm ever accused of a crime, I don't want to be tried under Sharia law. Nobody's advocating for that. Nobody is pushing for that. I've talked to several Muslims on the campaign trail who say, look, all we want is the ability to arbitrate our disputes under our laws,
our beliefs
in the mosque. And we want to go to our imam and say, me and this other person who have both agreed to arbitrate under this condition want to be able to go to our mosque and have the issue settled there. Nobody is looking to change the court system. Nobody is looking to change the criminal court system. And it is actually contrary. And in speaking with some Muslims recently, I found out that it actually violates their faith to force a non-Muslim into a arbitration in a civil dispute under Sharia law or any type of law of Islam. So they're not looking to force you, a Christian, a Jew, or atheist, whatever your faith or lack thereof is. They don't want that. They just want to be able to have the freedom to arbitrate their own disputes within their own religion privately.
Just like the Catholics do, just like Jewish people do, just like Christians do. So it's
right.
It's the same thing. And if we're going to be free, if you're going to be able to practice whatever religion you want, then you have to be able to practice whatever religion you want And this bill is going to affect all of those, not just one of those. Now, they may try to because they've made the law so back and forth on it, they may say, well, we're going to go after these people, but not go after these people. That might be the case. But wait till they turn that on you. You cannot have the government have a law that they can just use willy-nilly.
Now, it's very important that we clarify this, that nobody under any circumstance will be tried of a crime under Sharia law.
Right. That
is absolutely not. I'd never go for that. Nor will anyone be punished under Sharia law. There will be no stonings. There will be nobody getting their hands cut off or anything like that. But see, nobody's talking about that, but a lot of people are trying to sensationalize it into that.
Right. They're making it an emotional issue.
Well, those things, hold on, just to be fair, though, those things have happened.
Oh, and they do happen in other nations.
And the people that we've talked to hate that stuff.
Right.
And they're not looking for that here. This is purely about civil disputes between Muslims, not between a Muslim and a Christian, not between two Christians or two people of any faith whatsoever. This is only voluntary between Muslims, and that's all, at least all the Muslims that I've talked to, that's all they want. They want the freedom to be able to do that outside of the court system. They're not even talking about setting up new courts. They're just saying, let us deal with these disputes ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The danger about a bill like this, and even if you, are worried that all of a sudden there's going to be Sharia law here and that worries you, the danger with a bill like this is that the way it's written can come after anyone who settles a dispute at any time outside of a government-sanctioned court, which means anytime you and your friend decide to have a third person say, yeah, you're right, or yeah, you're right, you are now breaking the law. So this is a dangerous bill to every single person in the state of Florida if you ever want to settle a dispute just between people voluntarily.
Yeah, it's like what I talk about all the time is that, somebody identified a problem and they come up with this bill that makes the legislators feel good, and it actually makes the problem worse.
Yes.
Yep.
And they do this in so many cases.
And it's taking away your individual freedom.
All right, last caller. Let's go to the phones. Let's get to David. David, you're on the air.
Oh, yeah. Hey, morning. I was kind of interested in this for a couple of different reasons. Hey, this law you're describing, this is Florida law?
Yes.
Correct.
Florida.
It's a proposed bill
law.
in Florida House, if I'm not mistaken.
Florida Senate. There's
okay.
no House bill to match it, though.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it isn't in place yet. I was just wondering if basically the phrase independent arbiter might be, instead of discussing Sharia law, would an independent arbiter be precluded from taking part in any kind of civil incident?
The way the language is stated right now, it could be interpreted that way.
Well, see, that's the strange thing about it. I'm a big fan of Ralph Nader, and he's always warned people that if you sign a contract that has any phrase in there that says that you are waiving your civil legal and you submit to arbitration set up by the corporation. So, for example, Walmart usually puts this into a lot of their purchases, and Costco and some of these other ones, and so that you have to submit to an arbiter, an independent arbiter, but it's basically someone that is on the staff of Costco or one of these major corporations. So arbitration can be a problem. But it's interesting because this gets into the idea of privatized law, that the corporations become more powerful than the law itself. And it's kind of interesting. If you look at the history of the Muslims, they're basically an offshoot of the Jews and the Christians. If you look at the idea that the Jews were escaping slavery and they created their own freedom and their own religion separate from the Pharaoh. But after a while, there got to be merchants in the temple, so Jesus started complaining about that and created his own version of the same religion based upon the same God.
I hate to cut you short, but we're up against the top of the hour. Was there a final point in there you can get to in 10 seconds?
Yeah, well, just basically the Muslims were complaining about merchants in the temple of the Christians, and they created their religion off of the same God Yahweh. So Sharia.
I got to cut you short. I'm sorry, we're out of time. I don't quite understand how that related to the bill there.
Well, I think he was going to get to the point. I think there was a point to get to. Sorry about that. Again, we got the end of the show, man. We don't get the third hour just yet. The website, 1787network.com. It is well documented. It's all online. Go there. You can hear the podcast. You can hear Facebook. Everything else. You're listening to Liberty Underground. We'll be back next week.
And if you want to hear a third hour, donate.
Exactly.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run. WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen,